I am really excited to talk about this topic because it's something I truly believe is reshaping the digital marketing industry and the overall marketing industry. So when we talk about search everywhere optimization, we're going to go over through this session to explain what it means. What do you mean by search everywhere optimization? And explain commonly used terms that you are currently hearing about, like the generic SEO, but also AEO and GEO, and how they are becoming interconnected, but not only disconnected. They're part of a larger ecosystem. This session, I want to remind you that it is designed to be practical, strategic, easy to apply, but definitely we will be also digging deeper into toolkit, KPIs, and metrics, so you can have an initial roadmap on how you can start applying this, whether you are working in the digital marketing asset or for your own brands. So first, before we begin, I want to quickly walk through today's agenda. So we'll start by understanding how the search world has changed, why traditional search is evolving. Then we will define the difference between SEO, AEO, and GEO, and we understand how they actually work together rather than separately. We'll discuss changing user behavior and what the shift means for brands today, because the change in user behavior reflects in the change how we need to optimize visibility. And then, as mentioned, we'll move into a more practical framework, tools, KPIs, and some simplified cases and key takeaways that you can directly apply in your case. Okay, so first, I want to start by saying that this one very important statement is what this webinar is about. So Google is no longer the only place people search, definitely. And honestly, this changes everything. So today, you as actual users and your target audience and target clients, they search through ChatGPT, through Perplexity, Gemini, but it doesn't stop there. We're talking about TikTok searches. I'm sure a lot of you utilize TikTok as a search engines for shopping and for ideation. They even utilize Instagram, and definitely for video content that is not yet available on AI engines. YouTube is also one of the places people search for when they need visuals. So it's not about only typing keywords into Google like it used to be. People are now asking questions. They are consuming summarized answers, and they are discovering brands through that content and those conversations. So this is not a temporary trend. AI engines, the shift in search is not a temporary trend. This is a behavioral shift and a new reality that you should be aware of. And for you to be aware of, it's only the beginning. You should also reflect your strategy, your approaches, whether technical or non-technical content related. And we will see through this webinar the areas that you need to take into consideration when we are talking about this shift and adapting your brands to this shift. So definitely we want to separate the old way, because previously, like we're talking 5 to 10 years ago, search meant one thing, okay? And search was simple. Search meant only Google. Brands, they optimized for one algorithm, the ranking for Google algorithm. And their rankings, they determine their visibility. So if you are present on Google, on the top 3, top 4, top 5, you are present. And traffic back then, the website traffic, how many users are you getting to your website? This was your primary KPI. But today, we need to look at visibility as it is fragmented across multiple touch points. So I'm going to give you an example. A user, they might discover a brand on TikTok, but they can go and validate it on ChatGPT or Google My Business. They compare it on Google, especially Google Gemini, because the attention span of users are getting, smaller and smaller, and they purchase it like on platforms that are not specific to your website. So there are listing platforms that are available. So search no longer belongs to one platform. I need to identify the discovery point for my brand, okay? And I need to think beyond the traditional SEO, okay? So I'm gonna now explain the definitions for you who are not familiar with SEO, or if you have like general information. Let me simplify the terminology because there's a lot of confusion around this concept. I'm sure you've heard about SEO. Some of you heard AEO. Some of you heard GEO. So what is the difference between these three areas? And is SEO dead or no? We're gonna explore it as well. So SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization. It is about ranking. It focuses on improving your visibility in traditional search engines through different criteria that we're going to go over. I'm talking about technical health. I'm talking about content relevance, utilizing keywords, authority, and so on. So this is the classic traditional SEO that I know most of you have heard. However, in the past few years, we're talking about AEO. AEO stands for Answer Engine Optimization, not to be confused with GEO. So, Answer Engine Optimization, it's about getting an answer. This focus on structuring content so that search engines and AI system can directly extract answers. I'm gonna give you an example. A few years ago, if you typed something, you would get what we called a feature snippet, which is like a few lines on top of the Google search result, where it not summarizes, well, it mentions the direct answer. Now, with the introduction of AI, you're getting Gemini summary on top of your answers, on top of your results. So this is where answer engine optimization comes. It utilizes SEO basics. However, it's not fully AI to be considered AI engine citation. So we're talking about being present in the answer, whether the answer is extracted from search engines like Google and AI systems, AI platforms like ChatGPT, Gemini, and Perplexity. Okay, so this is for AEO. When it comes to GEO, which is the latest hype right now, I'm sure you have watched different videos and you've read different articles about it. It's the generative engine optimization. And when we say generative engine optimization, it's about being cited on AI engines. So this approach utilizes SEO basics, utilizes AEO basics. However, it takes it to the next level where you focus on increasing the chance of your brand appearing in AI-generated responses. Okay? So to simplify it and to move forward to the actual practical side, it is very simple. So SEO helps you rank. AEO helps you get the answer, and GEO helps AI mention you. Okay. Now I'm gonna dig a bit deeper into the ecosystem between these three because one of the biggest misconceptions, is thinking that these three are separate strategies. They are not. SEO is the foundation, as mentioned. AEO, it builds on SEO by structuring content into digestible answers, by identifying what your users are asking and structuring that content into direct answers. GEO takes it to the next level. So it leverages both SEO and AEO to help AI tools recognize your authority and cite your content or cite your website. So the question should not be, should I do SEO or GEO? The real mindset should be, how do we build an integrated visibility ecosystem? So here, we're going to dig a bit deeper just to explain and simplify the difference between traditional search and AI-powered search, because understanding how this works would help you identify where to do the shifts, where to focus on. So simply, user behavior, it has changed dramatically. Before, the user searched on Google, they scrolled through the what we call SERP, search engine result page, and they browsed, they clicked, and they explored different websites. This is why the KPIs back then was the KPI was traffic, visibility, Google ranks. Now, simply, users ask a question, a very tailored, customized question, a very niche question, and they get an instant answer. However, they may never even click. So it is important that with the rise of AI, you will notice that some traffic metrics that used to be very important, especially if not on a conversion level, would decline. However, this doesn't mean a bad indicator for your brand discoverability and awareness. Definitely, we should look into conversions. However, it is very important to note that this has changed, and traffic is no longer the only metric and KPI, and we'll explore it even further during this session. So this new reality, the traditional search versus the AI-powered search, it creates a major shift in how brands should measure success, as mentioned. Visibility is no longer tied to website traffic. So sometimes your content, it influences a decision now without generating a click at all. Especially if you have a hybrid model, you have an online business with actual locations. So you might get visibility on AI engines, visibility on search-driven social platforms like TikTok, YouTube, and so on, but still don't have traffic. However, this would increase your overall and most important conversion. So the shift, what does this mean for brand? The shift, although it looks easier, the journey, as mentioned, looks shorter for you. So you either make it or not. The shift has actually, let's call it, implications on your business. So first, we're seeing fewer clicks overall because answers are increasingly consumed directly on the platform. So beforehand, you used to position the brand as the know-how, the guide, used to publish blogs and get traffic from these blogs and redirect the user. All of these used to be very important. Now it has shifted. The same tools are available and would support, but in a different manner. Because now users expect immediate clarity, and the expectations are significantly higher. So, as mentioned here, you're getting fewer clicks overall, faster decision making. So it is very important that you make use of the most important and directed features on AI engines, on social media, on Google Maps, and so on, depending on your business needs, to get to the user whenever they're making the decision faster. So traditional ways are not out of the window. They are important, but we will explore how you can shift this and how you can make use for this approach that is, as mentioned here, no longer optional now. It is essential for survival. Okay, so I'm gonna start first with the basics since we've mentioned the ecosystem and how they are interconnected and SEO being the basics. I'm gonna start with what works for SEO, okay? And what still stands for SEO and what are the areas that you should take into consideration if you are familiar with SEO. So for those who haven't implemented SEO directly, I'm gonna remind you that SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization. It's the traditional and now basic way of optimizing your website to be present and visible across search engines. And with the changes, you can consider the SEO as the core and basic place to start. So if you haven't started SEO, it is still standing. You should start with it as a baseline to expand to other areas. So if you haven't done SEO, you can just jump ahead and do GEO or AEO. So what works for SEO? If you haven't worked on it, you should take into consideration that SEO today is very different from SEO 10 years ago, not only with the criteria, it's technically more difficult to master, yet not difficult to achieve. So with the proper guidance, you would definitely get results. So what matters now in SEO? What are the criteria that matters now? I'm talking about three main areas, okay, that are part of the overall search algorithm. However, there are other add-ons to take into consideration. First, technical health is very important. It has been and it will always be. So technical health ensures your content can actually be discovered, whether we're talking about search engines like Google discovering it, or we're talking about AI engines. And discovery is about technical terms like making sure that the website is scrollable, but also on a performance level, because you want your website to be optimized on a speed performance, for example. You want your website to be optimized on a device responsiveness. All of these still stand in the criteria for modern SEO, but also are part of the criteria for AEO and GEO. So if I make sure that my website is performing well, no errors, properly indexable, and it is understandable in terms of site structure, mobile speed, um, uh, de- uh, w- desktop speed and mobile speed, the security and all of this. This is one, a point to check off your checklist when it comes to SEO. The other part is definitely content quality. With the rise of AI, content is very easy to attain. Anyone can now write essays, articles, case studies. So we really need to reconsider the amount of competition that is out there, because now it's not only about the content itself being present, it's about your added value that you present through this content, which would differentiate you from other brands, in addition to original and comprehensive content. And in the upcoming slide, we're going to talk about structuring the content for AI engines. However, for both, having original, valuable content that shows your expertise, shows your unique selling points, all of these, and regularly updating them is important in SEO today. And the most important part for me, personally, it is user intent. So if I have the best content for my website and the technical performance is impeccable. However, I'm not targeting properly and I'm not understanding what the user is looking for and how to give him this answer and which page maps to my my user intent. I think this will all go in vain. So understanding what they actually want is critical, because not only it still secures your place in traditional SEO for search, however, it will also make it easier for AI engines to understand and to crawl your content to cite you as a brand, because you are aligned with what people are actually asking on AI engines. Let's not forget, it is the same user, although in different discovery or in different phases, consumer phases, it is the same user. So they're going to have the same pain points. They're going to have the same questions to ask about. So if I grasp what the user really needs and wants, I can align my content with that and position the brand as an answer to help feed AI engines, but also to secure my authority and my place of value when it comes to being recommended by search, by Google overall, and by AI engines. So this is when it comes to SEO. Okay. I'm definitely sure if you're someone who's familiar with SEO and you've heard about different criteria additionally to that, like user experience, like backlinks, citations, and so on. These still stand. However, here in this session, we are trying to identify how we can build the pyramid by securing SEO as a foundation. What are the common areas that we need to think of to make sure that by the end of the day, we are securing maximum visibility on AI engines, discovery channels, and so on. I want to highlight one area that it is actually one of the biggest mistakes usually brands still make in SEO and eventually AEO and GEO. So it is to focus only on keywords. Maybe when we started experimenting with SEO, I'm talking like 12 to 15 years ago, keywords back then, they guaranteed relevance. Now, not at all. So you can get ranks, you can rank for keywords, but you can still fail to convert. And as businesses, as brands, your main goal is to actually get a conversion, is to increase your sales, is to get good return on investment on your marketing plan and marketing budget. So getting ranks, still failing to convert, it is one of the biggest traps brands still make, because they don't solve the real need behind the search. And this is what I was talking about, the user intent. So the real opportunity is whenever you're doing market studies, you're doing checking the search behavior, asking why is the user searching? Are they looking, what are they trying to accomplish? Are they looking for instant answers? Are they looking for step-by-step guide? Are they looking for your service? Are they looking for guidance? So this is very important to take into consideration, because understanding the why, it truly, as mentioned here, it transforms your strategy. And having the strategy, it will reflect not only on SEO, on your overall digital marketing strategy. If you understand the why, and if you shape your content around the why and map it to the right keyword, combine it with a good technical knowledge and good technical know-how in the how search engines and how AI engines, they read your website and your content with their own set of glasses. This is something very important. Okay, so this is when it comes to the basics of SEO. So if we say we secure the first layer of the pyramid, we should move forward to the answer engine optimization. which is AEO. So AEO technically focuses on making your content answer ready, very specifically. So we're talking about FAQs, frequently asked questions, a technical area that we call schema markup, which is like a universal language that you add it to your code to simplify it, to add it to your code. And that helps AI engines and search engines map and understand the fields in your website and which goes where, especially for e-commerce websites and so on. So this is the price, this is the brand, this is the currency, but also for your services. So this is the service area, this is the service type, and so on. Concise formatting, because now with the presence of AI, everyone can create like big chunks of text, and usually it's the trend to abuse it. But no, being straight to the point. Always ask yourself, if I were an AI engine, how would I answer my target audience if they asked me about something? So if you imagine if you ask ChatGPT about a topic, how it's gonna be formatted in bullet points and covering different areas and different potential questions you didn't even think of. This is very important to shape your content around. So search engines and AI engines, they extract answers from content itself. As long, that the content is formatted in the proper formatting, and you are utilizing the technical platform, okay, to maximize visibility. And here we talk about schema markup. I don't understand non-technical individuals to understand it, but it's useful to read about it because it is increasingly getting more important and being a good player in the game, especially on GEO, as you will see later on. So it helps AI engines unify and simplify your fields, help them understand, is this page a service page? Is it an FAQ page? Is it a product page, a landing page? All of this. And not only that, understanding your brand and business. So there's the organization schema. They would understand the owner, social links, many other information. So I advise you, if you're not very familiar with the schema markup, if you are wishing to expand your knowledge and what truly matters, definitely looking for the content shape that AI engines are now focusing on. But in addition to that, checking what is schema markup, and if you have a business website, checking how feasible it is, because it's usually very straightforward in some of their platforms with the plugins like Shopify and so on, but it can be a bit challenging if your website is hard-coded. And now we get to the top of the pyramid. As mentioned, I want to stress that although GEO is very important, it works best when paired with other discovery points like TikTok, Google Maps, YouTube, making sure that you keep the mentality of search everywhere. Now the main shift is towards search on AI engines, but keep in mind that some industries, for example, if you have a decor business, Pinterest is part of your search, should be part of your search everywhere mindset. So taking into consideration, however, GEO remains the most important part, and it is one of our main topics today. So because it's becoming one of the most important emerging areas in digital visibility. So now let me summarize it that the AI platforms, when it comes to recommendations, and if you want to increase visibility, they are not creating information about you. They are technically summarizing information instead of listing the links. So this means that as brands, you need to make sure that you build 4 main areas. Okay? The first area would be authority, making sure that your content on the website, your citations across different websites, as mentioned here. So if you get your brand cited as a source in AI-generated answers, this is something very important. I'm going to explain how. So for each industry, there are citations that AI engines take into consideration. I'm going to give you a simple example. If I have a hotel or a restaurant, mostly hotel, okay, the booking.com, let's say, and other similar websites are considered as sources in AI generated answers. And I'm sure many of you have noticed when you search on ChatGPT, they show you like little icons on, so they're scanning their sources. So for each industry and for each area, there are a few citations. So making sure that your brand is present there, and not only in mentions but also in sentiment. Being cited with positive sentiment is definitely the key to visibility. So usually as a user, you would search for best destination, best restaurant, best software. So having your query and the user's query focus on the best, AI engines and LLM models now understand sentiment, understand if the discussion on these platforms and on the reviews and on the comments, are they positive or negative? So if they are mostly positive, they're gonna crawl through all of these and consider your brand to be part of the best recommended choices. Creating these citations is important and differentiates GEO from SEO, because on SEO everyone can talk rainbows and butterflies on their own website. Our brand is the best, the leading, and so on. However, in GEO, because there are citations outside of your website, not only sources, websites, we have citations like the conversation, the discussion on social media platforms. So if you're a B2B business, LinkedIn is the place where AI engine would check what are the mentions for you. Review-based websites, directories, your reviews on Google My Business if you have a physical location, your reviews on app stores if you have an app. So making sure what differentiates GEO from SEO and AEO is that you do not only prepare and focus on the website. This is why we still work on SEO to make sure that the website reflects all of this. And in AEO, we make sure that the content is understandable by AI engines through the schema markup. However, being present everywhere, utilizing the terminology, utilizing the lingo, the utilized keywords that the users look for, speaking the user's language would help you get more visibility. And I hope I'm making sense on that matter. Authority building, definitely through getting big citations, you need to make sure that you establish credibility. So even if we're talking about publication, regional magazines, PR outreach also becomes very important in this. In addition to getting trusted backlinks from strong domain authorities, because it signals to AI that this is credibility, it is very important. So, as mentioned, it's a huge ecosystem, but starting and testing what works better for you, this is something very important, and taking into consideration that all of this integrated. So start with a strong SEO foundation to make sure that you are still visible on and discoverable on search. Move forward to AEO to structure your content to provide real answers and amplify your authority, amplify your presence through AI visibility. Because without the stronger SEO foundations, AI engines may never find you. So make sure that it is all interconnected. So I wanted to show you here like a practical, because we're talking things that matters and that make sense. However, how do I apply it as a practical framework overview? So how do we practically implement search everywhere? Let me simplify it into 5 interconnected steps. So the step 1 is building a strong technical foundation, as mentioned. So you should look at crawlability, indexing, device optimization, mobile users versus desktop users. Not everyone is on our laptops. We are, but other users outside of the industry are not. The speed, the structure, the architecture, and the conversion, how it is optimized on a UX level. So this is the first one. The second one is the intent alignment. So we need to stop and ask ourselves, what keywords should we target? To do the proper research, make sure that content match what users actually need, not just keywords that they are searching for. The step 3, which is the structured content, making sure that you format the content as mentioned, mimicking how AI engines usually provide answers, anticipating, and there are a lot of tools that help with that, what users would look like into relevant searches, but formatting also with the technical side of it, utilizing schema markup, and building authority as a 4th and 5th step, authority and reach through backlinks, through citations, through engaging in the conversations on some platforms like X, LinkedIn, depending on your business type, and making sure it is as positive as it can be with the proper and with the most commonly issues addressed. Definitely, when it comes to the foundation, here it's I'm gonna skim through it because I already elaborated a bit. We're talking about fast load speeds. We're talking about the different areas that you should take into consideration, and definitely there are a lot of tutorials and there are a lot of guides, and there especially if you're working with an SEO expert, you would know the priorities and what works with the technology. Elaborating on the intent alignment. So as mentioned, keywords are very important, but they need to be aligned with what the user actually wants. In the structured data, utilizing, for example, structured content, utilizing frequently asked questions. If you're an e-commerce website, utilizing schema markup. So there is a website called schemamarkup.org where you can search different schema types and you can explore what schema markup type suits your business. However, it remains a priority that, for example, for AI visibility, to always have an FAQ around not only your brand, but also around your business as well, which is very important. And having every content on your website, whether it being evergreen blogs, they are still discoverable by AI engines and would help. So blogs are not dead, but shaping them in a format that AI engines can crawl, positioning as original content, added value content. This is where you're gonna get, although lesser clicks directly on the blog, but higher conversions and higher visibility due to awareness and being cited. In addition to authority building, which means quality backlinks, sources and citations, and PR outreach through relevant platforms. And relevancy in this area is key. And another metric that you should note down is the domain authority, to check how AI engines and how search engines are scoring these websites based on their relevance to the industry and their low spam scores. So no link buying, which is not a very optimized approach. So the final step is to expand beyond your website. As mentioned, being visible everywhere, optimizing for search everywhere, because the same audience, it exists across social platforms, marketplaces, AI platforms, and communities. So the same keywords that you are already now aware of if you started working on the foundation, you can mimic it and utilize it in your TikTok captions. You can dig deeper and check the algorithm for YouTube search if it applies to your business. Same goes for Instagram. Before, like 10 years ago, we used to say hashtags and so on, but now search has become more advanced that you can actually directly search on platforms without utilizing this. You just need to utilize the proper keywords and the proper content format for it. So being present on social media platforms is important. The marketplace visibility, it depends on your business type, on your target audience as well. So there are app stores, there are Amazon, Noon, there are a lot where users search, but with the high purchase intent. So consider you are a series on Netflix and you want to maximize visibility for your series. You make sure that you utilize the keywords that the user search within also the actual marketplace. People who search directly on the e-commerce application are more likely to convert if they search on AI engines. So this is also an opportunity to look for and search everywhere. And definitely AI platform monitoring. So tracking, adapting the content for ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, and staying on top of trends. Because there are a lot of new integration and the expectations within the market are very high. For example, ChatGPT started introducing AI shopping, their shopping feature, where users don't need to go to Google and Google, the product. It is still not very activated, but it is anticipated. In addition to that, I'm sure, I don't know if you've heard that ads are taking part of ChatGPT as well in some of the markets. So it is very important that we stay up to date with the AI platforms, with the new features they launch, and maximize our visibility and understand and grasp what works better for our brand. Moving forward now to the tools and KPIs. So I don't know if you'll receive this as a reference, Mona, if you can confirm, but if you want to take a screenshot for this part, because toolkits are essential. And there are a lot of tools now, AI additions, that you can utilize for each area. So, for example, if I want to mimic the structure and the ecosystem we've worked on, so if I want to say first for the SEO, the audit, and the tracking tools, you have tools that would help you identify the issues like Screaming Frog, the technical issues. Ahrefs and SEMrush are tools that would help you identify keywords, study the market, the domain authority, all of this. So these are like the main top keywords to take, tools to take into consideration. It is important to utilize such tools. However, it is also more crucial to make sure that you have analytics enabled on your website to measure and track and build on what works best for your brand. So it's a learning, testing approach where you see what works, what doesn't work. So make sure that you have Google Analytics set up, GA4 set up on your website properly with the proper measurements for events and so on. Google Search Console is also very important, and through Google Analytics, you'll be able to dissect where are you getting traffic from, so you can see if you're getting clicks, for example, specifically from ChatGPT, you will receive that. And other user behavioral tools that would help you visualize how the user is interacting on your website, such as UX tools, heat maps, and so on. All of this would be beneficial to understand the intent that you are actually matching, you're getting the actual conversions and amending accordingly. As for content and AI, the actual platforms provide a lot of features, but I'm sure each one of you utilizes their own, content platforms that would help you structure it, but make sure that it is still original in terms of ideation, in terms of input, in terms of no one knows your brand like you. So utilizing AI to structure the content to make it AI ready, but also having that added value is very important. And to complete the circle, which is not to be missed across all your marketing aspects, but specifically through GEO, more than SEO, is actually monitoring the brand. So monitoring the sentiment around your brand, the discussion that is happening across social media, across the news, forums, blogs, Quora, Reddit. Because, for example, Quora and Reddit, if you think about it, there are the AI platforms. There are ChatGPT 10 years ago when you had a very specific question and you needed answer. So Quora and Reddit, usually they carry how users would ask, and they carry like few real user generated content. So make sure you are there, you are monitoring, you are checking, you are managing when needed. There are a lot of tools that can help you do that. There is Brand24, Talkwalker, depending, of course, on your target audience and so on. But make sure that you do not miss brand monitoring to check your brands, the keywords related to your brand and the industry brand and what's trending and the user pain points and interests around your brand. So this is when it comes to the tools. When it comes to metrics, as mentioned earlier, it's not only about the traffic and the ranking. They are still important. However, it is very important that now we track first the AI answer visibility. And there are tools as well that track these. In addition to how many citations you get on AI endorsed platforms, this is very important. There are tools to give you what it is called share of voice that you can try. Some of them have free trials, so have fun, playing around them. Some of them require actually add-ons, paid add-ons, like the most important one personally I utilize. It's integrated within SEO with SEMrush, for example, where you can check the visibility and it gives you opportunities, but it is paid. So this is one of the main areas that you can look into as a new measurement and KPIs. Click-through rates, because you want to identify if your content is resonating. So monitoring traffic, but checking the visibility on AI engines, the visibility on search engines, the visibility on social media platforms, and how much these area or these channels are generating actual results and clicks, because it can be something as simple as tweaking your meta description performance, or tweaking your captions on social media, and fixing the technical side of the schema markup and the off-platform metrics. So, for example, mentions, how many mentions you are getting on social media and in different websites, the sentiment around it. So you don't want only to see the visibility directly translating into traffic, but also the sentiment around it and the how users are actually seeing your brand, because this and the conversation will eventually shape the visibility of AI. So, for example, in some case studies, definitely, especially, for example, for B2B, the intent alignment, in some cases, it helped us increase 40% in qualified leads and 25% higher conversions just by matching the content to the actual search queries. So mapping the right keyword. For example, directly linking them to the service page, not to the home page, or to this specific page, making sure that I ask myself, why is the user searching for it? What are they expecting with one click, whether it's being on AI or on search? This is important. For structured content, for example, an e-commerce brand, they utilized the product page schema markup and they utilized the FAQ schema markup. So they want the rich result, whether it being by shopping visibility or the overall visibility, and they drove 300% more organic click-through rates, which was incredible. And another client for a healthcare, okay, they utilized backlinks, expert backlinks from relevant health-related publications, even influencing sites. And now they are appearing 45% just by boosting their backlinks. So these are few important cases that showcases that it differs, the focus differs per brand, but it's definitely something that it should be taken as a whole ecosystem. So the key takeaway, definitely, as mentioned, now in search everywhere optimization, we do not only look at Google for search and even for the AI engine itself for search, but we look at a search everywhere approach. Now we're not looking at only rankings and traffic. It's about being present wherever your audience seek answers, and it's up to you and to study. And there are a lot. For example, we help our clients identify where the user is actually present and where are they searching. So highlighting the weights per platform, but definitely not dismissing AI. So being part of the answer, whether it's being a search engine result, an AI response, AI generated response, being on TikTok, on YouTube, or even a marketplace website like Amazon. Visibility, it is the new KPI to look at. So make sure that your brand is spending it wisely, as mentioned here, across every touch point, because search everywhere is the new approach. So just to make sure that we have everything wrapped up, whenever you're considering digital visibility, the search everywhere optimization should be the new standard. So, but it's not, it should never be worked on in silos. So even if you have the best social media presence and it's not interconnected with your SEO strategy and it's not interconnected with your media strategy and with what you're doing on third-party website and the PR, this will not guarantee you. So definitely adapting, monitoring what is the platform of focus, all of this is important. However, the strategy should be integrated not only for SEO and AU and GEO as an ecosystem, but also throughout the visibility and conversation and sentiment around your brand on digital. So I will leave it now to the Q&A. I know we might have exceeded the time. Let me know if you have any question.
Yeah, Mona, I'm going to allow the candidates to talk so we can hear their questions. Okay. Okay. I'll start with Giri. Giri, would you like to? Yeah.
I cannot hear you. I don't know if he's talking.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
So for the GEO, do you want to show any examples? Like exactly how we do that. I mean, how that machine works, AI thing.
Okay, so definitely this webinar is an introduction into the shift, but I hope maybe Morgan can arrange something, because GEO is not just one single layer. We spoke about the basics, which is the
Okay.
technical part, making sure it is discoverable, the content adaptable. There are a lot of tools to take into consideration to understand the queries, and the part that is different from SEO, which happens outside of your website, not just only as a backlink, but as a citation. But of course, my advice to you is to check first what applies for your brand, what are the sources and the resources and the platforms that you should be present in. And I'm going to give you an example. If you have a B2B business, monitoring, let's say, LinkedIn, monitoring international directories for that industry, checking the conversation on X, being, I don't know, in Forbes, being featured in publications, this would help. However, if you're an e-commerce, for example, being present on TikTok, being present on citations and third-party vendors' websites, working on your schema markup. So it is adaptable. However, I wish I can give you like a short answer on how to do it. I can, but it would require another 1 hour and a half at least. But
Okay.
would
Okay.
be
I
happy to
got it.
do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
And yes,
Oh,
we've taken your feedback through the poll, so hopefully we will be running more workshops, as Mona mentioned.
great.
Okay. All right. We had a hand.
Mariam, I think.
Mariam, yes. Mariam?
Um, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
First, thank you for this great webinar. I just have a couple of questions. The first question, when it comes to the content. Now, previously we worked with SEO with our clients, and one of the questions that they always ask us is, does it matter if we use human written content or AI generated content?
Okay, so actually, this question I believe was asked to you like 1 year ago. Is that correct? Because there were like constant algorithm updates that sometimes were saying it is not okay and they will be penalized. And then afterwards, because with the increase of usage of LLM generated content, it's not about the human touch as much as it is about the added value. So if the content is unoriginal, it is duplicated somewhere, and it is like literally I'm giving one prompt to AI engines and they're writing it for me, it will not answer to the intent, so it will not rank. But the criteria of it being generated through AI, definitely the impact for it has decreased with time. So if you write, for example, your vision, your unique selling points, if you include the keywords that you want to utilize and take into consideration how you want the content to be, having it optimized, utilizing AI platforms is not the end of the world. Definitely, we don't want to be stuck in the past and saying no, please write everything by hand. But after all, if you utilize it for proofreading, it might change something. So being realistic, making sure that it is of value. If I want to write a LinkedIn post and I have the ideas and it's an original approach, original idea, and I'm utilizing AI to help tweak my language, tweak the way I approach. This is how I should utilize it, but it's not about the human indicator. You know, the scores that you are looking for are no longer. You don't need to look for it.
Okay, got you. So it's more of like the diversity as well, and what I'm feeding the content.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Any other question, Mariam?
That's it for now.
Okay, thank you for your question.
We have Elvisha next.
I can't hear you, Elvisha.
Hi, am I audible now?
Yes, yes, you are.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I also want to thank you. It's an amazing webinar. My question, actually, I have two short questions. I'll ask you quickly. One was for an e-commerce marketplace,
Mm-hmm.
like for example, like an Amazon or like a smaller marketplace like that. What would be a citation apart from social media platforms?
Okay, so citations for an e-commerce definitely differs per industry. Okay, so the local directories and the websites that lists top 10 beauty websites to shop for, cruelty free. All of these listings are taken into consideration. However, to give you a definitive answer, for example, SEMrush within their AI, they have a platform where you can scan all of the AI supported platform resources. Usually, for e-commerce websites, sorry, it's more about the ratings website, okay, and
Okay.
citations on publications, especially when it comes to buyer's guides. So if your brand is more lifestyle, let's say, and you get featured by, I don't know, Vogue or something like this, definitely this would be a huge boost. So it depends on the industry, but there are tools like SEMrush where you can scan the verified sources.
Got it. And the second question is actually so when I'm working on SEO, I
Mhm.
always kind of have I'm always in like crossroads with the tech team because if there's anything going wrong with the website, they'll always blame it on SEO. So is there anything that I can, go back to them and tell them that no, like it's not actually, this is not SEO related, it's more of a technical um, website foundation that is missing or something like that?
Of course. Actually, it's a very common scenario, and I can feel you. I hope no one from your technical team is here. Or maybe yes, they should. Okay. So definitely backing it up with what SEO is doing. First, you have your own website just to make sure that I understand, or are you just on Amazon?
It's our own marketplace.
Own marketplace, and is it Shopify, Magento, WooCommerce, or
They have created their own
mhm,
like
platform
like
technology?
it's not on Shopify. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So usually when it comes to SEO, identifying the areas where you would be responsible for, because if you perform an audit for SEO, it's not going to affect the website technically. So, for example, Screaming Frog, there's I think a trial version, or you don't need a license for. You can check it. You don't have to pay for it at first. So crawling, utilizing such tools will help identify what is the exact core issue if the website is down. Google Lighthouse, Google Page Speed would help you identify where the website is lagging and why are you getting, let's say, low performance. So my advice to you on a business level is that if you do the proper SEO audit and identify what is exactly the technical issue that has been causing the website not to function properly and not to get SEO results by default, would help you address it. And there are a lot of tools that would help you do that. SEMrush has SEO audit features. It is good, but it is a paid version. Ahrefs as well, so we're not sided to SEMrush, but yes. So you can utilize these toolkits, run an audit, make sure that it is identifiable, and we have AI, so you can utilize. If you don't understand what they're talking about, you can just simply screenshot the error that is showing and ask AI engines, and they are of great help when it comes to identifying the technical terms for non-technical people.
All right. Thank you. That was helpful.
Anytime, anytime.
Okay, we're going to take two more questions. Mona, if you don't mind.
I don't mind at all.
Great. We have Harry coming up next.
Hello, Harry. Can you hear me? I can't hear him.
Harry, you're muted. Okay, we'll try with Reem in case Harry was able to speak later. Yes, Reem.
Reem is muted as well, I think.
Hi, Mona.
Hello, Reem.
Hi. Thanks for the great webinar. I have a question related to off-page SEO.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how can we find backlinks agencies that provide bulk pricing at lower rates?
Okay. So that's actually an amazing question. Thank you for asking this.
Yeah, I'm curious to know it.
Yeah. So being on the receiving end of this and always trying to explain that not everything you read and not everything you receive on your LinkedIn inbox is something what we call white hat SEO. Okay, so there are black hat SEO methods where you can get backlinks from casinos. You know, I'm sure you've heard and seen like $20 per link and so on. So my advice to you, because these don't work, and whenever there is something that looks fishy and looks spammy, search engines and AI engines, they would, you know, give you like a penalty, and you're gonna lose instead of winning. So usually the best approach with agencies when it comes to backlinks is definitely we need to identify a budget, but this budget needs to be uh, taking into consideration that we want quality. So who will we reach out to are either websites that supports guest posting, because some websites have legit content, they have guidelines, okay, and there are usually networks for these. So you can start by saying like, I want to be featured in website that supports guest posting. And usually with agencies, they either provide with the content from the agency side, like we do. We write the content, okay, for you, so you don't have to worry about it. And we present it to these publication networks where the content would be featured there. Usually the price points, to be honest, I wish I can give you an exact number, but it would differ between target audience. So let's say if you're talking GCC, if you're talking USA, Australia, it's different, and per industry. So this is the first approach. Encouraging guest posting, which is important. Also, the big names, big publications, they have their own featured packages. However, they come at a very high price, and having it bulked is something that is usually not attainable, and it requires a little bit of PR. So my approach would be, if you have a specific target in mind, make sure to focus on the quantity, identify the domain authority, tell them I want a domain authority, let's say, no lower than 52, let's say. I want content with it, so it can be through guest posting, and give them a big flexible budget so you can have like room to move, because some big publications can request up to $20,000 per link, and this is something.
$20,000
Yes,
per link.
per link. If there are big publications, like I'm talking about very big publications to be featured. So there are affordable prices, but to go to an agency, you should be aware that there is a budget. If you wish to do it organically, which we also suggest, is to make sure that you provide unique content. And when you provide unique content, and when your brand has that unique selling point where you are the expert, it will be easier through outreach. And people would be more willing to give you that without you telling them, please, I want you to place the link. Another approach would be listings and directories. And listings and directories are more cost efficient. There are listings and directories that requires fees, but they are very minimal. You can also invest in an additional fee, for example, to get an actual visibility within the directory, if you know what I mean. But usually the best approach in this is checking your sources. So doing direct outreach, let's say, as mentioned, booking. For e-commerce, by the way, but it's not very popular. You know, the coupon websites and offer websites can be helpful if not spammy and if they have a good high authority. So this is something that you can take into consideration. Guest posting and communicating your expectations in terms of domain authority, so they can have room with the price ranges. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, got it, Mona. Thank you so much.
Anytime. Do you have any other question?
No, thank you.
Anytime.
Okay, we're going to try one more time with Harry. Harry, are you able to unmute?
There's also someone called Ray, if I'm
Ray.
not mistaken. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so I'll take it with Ray, and this would be the last question for the webinar. Ray, please go ahead.
Hello, Ray.
Hey.
Okay, Harry has sent the question by chat, which is great. It would have been lovely to hear your voice, but definitely I would answer it. I will read the question out loud first. So, what would you typically do when you lose ranking during an algorithm update? And what would be your action? I also love this question. So, if you are already familiar with SEO, it's the SEO specialist's worst nightmare, digital marketeer's worst nightmare whenever there's an algorithm update. So whenever this happens, of course, prevention is key, where we keep always tabs on if there are any announcements to be made first. This step first. If there are any announcement on an upcoming Google algorithm update, where we'll be sitting on GA4 and checking what is happening. And usually updates, they roll over like a period of 10 days. But we make sure that we can activate alerts to see if there's any sudden drop or something. So first step might not always be feasible, is keeping keeping a close eye on announcement. However, when what happens and you notice a drop in the traffic, and here it's a diagnosis mode activated. Usually when there's an algorithm update, sometimes, especially with Google, they launch, common reasons. Let's say spammy backlinks was one of them. Let's say outdated, metadata in one of them, outdated image formats. So usually trying to read as much as possible. I advise going on a lot of discussion boards. They are still active for SEO members, reading journals and seeing what is the discussion about to save you a little bit of the diagnosis. But sometimes the diagnosis is, sorry, it completely left my mind, is customized. So the diagnosis side, we would be doing searching on 3 places. First, checking GA4. We advise you check GA4 and try to determine any pattern that you notice in a decline. For example, timing is important. The landing pages of focus are important. What are the pages you are losing traffic for? Is it overall or is it specific? After you identify this, even checking into the demographic side. So is it a mobile traffic decrease or an overall traffic decrease? So once you understand what is happening, you can take it to the next step, which is on Google Search Console. And on Google Search Console, you would need to check the types of keywords where you lost traffic from. Okay, so is it a visibility issue? If it's branded and the visibility issue, this would be, you will notice that the traffic even decreased for branded keywords. If it's a ranking issue for you because of a criteria, you will notice that the branded are still there, the traffic is still there, but the non-branded increase. And to move forward to the third area, which is the technical diagnosis. Okay, so the technical diagnosis is, once you start to read, you will start to see what are the areas that you lack on your website that might be causing this. And here you have an elimination approach. Let's say I noticed that a page didn't get affected a lot, or a keyword didn't get affected a lot by the algorithm update. I check it and I analyze the page. Maybe this page has a better performance. So let's say every page that has a performance score below 30 gets dropped. I don't know. Sometimes they were this abrupt. I'm talking 10 years ago. Now there are more. So analyzing, it is very important. Diagnosis and testing with the actions if it lingered. Because sometimes, and this once happened with a client, there was an algorithm update that ruled 10 days ago. We spent countless investigating, and there was a click of a button that the developer clicked by mistake on the website that has resulted the traffic drop. So make sure that you cover technical, content, and traffic. Okay, did I answer your question? Okay, indeed. Anytime. Okay.
Okay, Mona, I'd like to thank you so much for your time and the valuable insights that you've shared today. And hopefully, there will be more workshops or webinars to come. Thank you, everyone, for attending. It's a great pleasure. Reminding you, should you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Morgan INTL at any point. We're ready to help you, be it about technical information or training requirements or questions about our digital marketing certifications. We're ready to help you. Hopefully, and stay tuned to our news for upcoming webinars. And that's it. Have a great evening, everybody. Mona, thank you once more.
Thank you, Mona. Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you everyone for following through. I hope I shared a bit of knowledge and I transferred the passion to this industry. If you want to be present, just don't dismiss it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.